Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, today we're going to be talking about the one and only Turbo coin. Now, yes, I am back, ladies and gentlemen, from vacation, but we're still not at the main setup, but everything will be fully back tomorrow with the webcam, with absolutely everything, right? Didn't do a video on Wednesday, and the Thursday videos are coming out later. Like I said, just came back from the holidays, still, putting stuff together. And yeah, let's just jump right into this. So first of all, this is a legendary meme. This is a legendary picture. If you know, you know, right? If you know, you know. But let's talk about this, right? So we can see, ladies and gentlemen, right? Turbo on-chain / off-chain bridging, TradeFi, and DeFi. Buy Turbo directly on Swapper Finance, powered by Chainlink MasterCard. Spending Turbo anywhere, MasterCard is accepted with Zebec HQ. Okay, so the future is now, and we're building it together. Ladies and gentlemen, my oh my, what do we have here? This is fantastic. This is fantastic. I cover Zebec, I cover Turbo, and now I'm seeing a collaboration. A collaboration. This is absolutely fantastic, right? We can see Turbo is now listed on Swapper Finance. You can buy Turbo directly with MasterCard. No CEX, no hassle. Just smooth on-chain with your off-chain card. Guys, this is what I mean. This is what I mean, that Turbo doesn't need to do updates consistently. It just does them, whenever they can. And when they do, they hit. Okay, when they do, they hit. This is a 12 out of 10 type of collaboration, type of innovation. I'm sorry, but I really don't see other meme coins doing this, right? I really don't. And, I'm proud. I'm proud of Turbo because I know this is going to cause this coin to pump extra, right? Just to clarify, just because a coin does something great in terms of fundamentals, it doesn't automatically mean they're going to pump, right? The markets, the way they work, ladies and gentlemen, they brew up, they cook. Think about some stew, some type of stew, some type of meat, but instead of it just being a couple hours or half a day or whatever, sometimes it takes weeks or months. But here's the deal. Something like this will always add extra value to Turbo. So if Turbo's destiny was 15 cents, well, this update, this can get Turbo to 18 cents, 20 cents. Now, I'm just speaking hypothetical numbers, but you get the point, right? Stuff like this is huge, right? Turbo Black debit card powered by Zebec Network and MasterCard. Spend Turbo or stable coins anywhere. MasterCard is accepted. DeFi in your pocket. So what? We are, into the DeFi, the TradeFi realm. We are in the metaverse. We're in the gaming. We're in meme coins. We're in AI, right? There's probably one or two more I'm missing. How many narratives is Turbo in? How many collaborations? How many innovations? Guys, this is huge. This is huge. This is actually worth reposting, right? This is fantastic. And this is what we love to see. Okay, this is going to break records. This is going to really set Turbo above the rest of the coins like it has been, right? I'm not the one that does any of this behind the scenes. I'm not affiliated with Turbo. But, just off the top of my head, the one thing I can always think about is Robinhood. But yet, Turbo, the people behind this coin, the people that are working behind the scenes, they seem to know a lot more. And man, they keep bringing out bangers after bangers. All right, let's jump into some of the basics that we cover with Turbo before we get into some of the market analysis, right? We can see, ladies and gentlemen, that we are at 232 million market cap, pretty low volume of 26 million, and we are at rank 164, price of 0.0033. Okay, now if we go to the holders, I do believe we did drop down by like 200 from its all-time highs, and no concern, no problem, literally no problem. Wow, would you look at that, right? So we peaked at 55,741, and at one point we were all the way down at 55,576. But we could see we are already recovering. Okay, we are already recovering, and we're only just a certain amount of holders, what, like 60 roughly, maybe a little bit more, before we get back to all-time highs. And look, it just happened. It just happened super quickly. And Turbo isn't even, making crazy moves in terms of the chart itself, right? Sure, in terms of innovation, in terms of exchange listings, in terms of, everything is doing outside the charts, it's doing it fantastically, okay? But there's no like big spike in price where you might think, oh, well, like, oh my God, this coin pumped 500%. I have to get in, and we're still recovering very, very nicely, people. Okay. So yeah, man, I mean, Turbo, it never fails to disappoint. I know some people are disappointed in its price action, but listen, the markets just have been heavy overall when it comes to altcoins, right? We've discussed it in Turbo videos. We've discussed it previously in other videos, right? And that is just the reality. Okay. That is just the reality of how things go sometimes with the markets. We know, right? Bitcoin dominance right now, we can see it's at 65.91%. We know we have to go roughly to 70 to 74% and then see a certain market structure shift before we can even consider, altcoins consistently rising. Okay. Before we can consider altcoins consistently rising. But look, in terms of the charts, we are at a very, very crucial support, right? We are at a very crucial support. We did, sell off and we're bouncing off of it right now. I will say it does look extremely, extremely weak. It looks extremely weak based off the weekly candle, right? For me, we talked about how we bounced here and we expect some type of pull back. But ladies and gentlemen, we still, in terms of fundamentals, have not created any higher highs, right? We can see the last daily candle high was here. And then when we did pull up, we can see when we zoom in, we closed lower, right? This point is lower than this point. So for me, there's still no indications. Is it completely lost? Is the hope completely lost? No, not necessarily. Why? Because we are still on a massive support, but it's also because we can technically create a higher low first, okay? Just because we didn't create a higher high, right? Just because we didn't create a higher high over here or here, it doesn't necessarily mean that this still can't be the beginning of the reversal. Because if we do have this low and then we respect here and we start going up, right, then this area would be the beginning of the reversals. Okay, it's very, very simple. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this is practically it for the video. Nothing crazy with the analysis. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you do want a portfolio view or a in-depth analysis on a bunch of coins, including Turbo, then make sure to join the community, as well as you do get a lot of educational videos on how to trade and just understand the markets better. But ultimately, this is it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys did enjoy. Everything will be back to normal sooner than later. I love you guys so, so much, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.